Under the Radar.
You're listening to Money FM 89.3, and it's now time for Under the Radar with me, Chua Tian Tian. Now, if you don't know something, just Google it. Now, while Google started out as the name of a search engine company, the word has become almost synonymous with the act of looking something up online. Now, beyond that, the tech firm has made itself into all parts of our lives. Now, some of us use Gmail for emails, Google Docs for crafting documents, and Google Drive for cloud storage. Not to mention the Android operating system that some of our phones use and the YouTube app that we stream our videos from. Now, in fact, Google has 15 products that each serve over 500 million people and businesses, and 6 that serve more than 2 billion users too. But it wasn't that long ago when such conveniences were not available. Now, in fact, Google was just founded 25 years ago, and it's way younger than a number of industrial firms that we spoke with on the show. So what was Google's journey like throughout the past quarter century, and what went under the radar over the past 25 years? And how does Google intend to take itself forward in the next 25 years with the advent of generative AI? And how does it assess its peers' investments into AI startups? Now, for the answers, let's speak to Ben King, Managing Director of Google Singapore and APAC Agency. Ben, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Great to have you on board. And Ben, we've briefly talked about Google, from Google Search all the way to your workplace apps, right? Google's products have been widely used around the world and even more often than we think. So we want to hear from you, how many products and services does Google have exactly? And how would you then describe your value proposition and business model?
Yeah, look, it's a really good question, but to give you the headline number, we have over 250 products, right? So this is something of a moving target as well. We launch, we depreciate, so it's very difficult to sort of talk about every single product. So it's probably better to give you some broader strokes around, mission, and then also how we think about our business on the back of that mission. Our mission, we actually celebrated our 25-year anniversary last week. And the mission statement that was rolled out 25 years ago, it holds very true today. That is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful for everyone. And then, as I said, we then think about our business on the back of that, both in terms of consumer products, and you mentioned some of those before, and then also helping businesses grow. So if I could maybe just double click on each of those quickly. This mission of making information accessible, it comes to life through the many products and services that people will be familiar with. You mentioned a couple: Search Maps, Gmail, YouTube, Google Flights. People can find credible information on a wide variety of topics, based on whatever it is that they're seeking. Now, today, you mentioned before, 15 Google products, they serve over 500 million people. 6 products serve over 2 billion users. But it's not just about those established products, it's also about new products. The North Star of making information universally accessible, it really underpins all new products that are rolled out, like Bard, and that's our AI-powered chatbot. We're also proud to offer hardware as well, and hardware in the form of Pixel smartphones and Nest smart home devices as well. So from a consumer-facing standpoint, really the underpinning mission remains consistent. How that then takes shape and how that comes to life, varies. Now, on the back of these products, we also think about helping businesses grow. If I could put it simply, we're also in the business of helping other businesses. So, much of the work that our teams do, the team that I work with very closely as an example, we work closely with large corporations. We also work with startups and small business owners to offer solutions that include digital advertising. But our cloud team is emerging and growing very, very quickly. And they also play a pivotal role in helping businesses innovate to reach new customers at scale for growth through enterprise-grade cloud and AI solutions. Now, as well as helping these larger businesses, they also provide tools for developers and startups to help them do things like create apps and programs, for other users. So there's a range of different things that we do from a business standpoint. But if I could really summarize, I hope that gives you a bit of context, but if I summarize, we have consumer-facing products that are built around a mission of making information universally accessible, and then we help businesses off the back of it, whether it be through advertising or whether it be data infrastructure or cloud.
And let's take a look at Google over the years, Ben, from a small search engine company that started in the garage back in 1998 to the tech firm that it is today. How has Google evolved over the years in terms of industry positioning? As you mentioned earlier, you said that the products that you will have in future will really depend on what's next. So tell us more about what went in the past 25 years.
That's a really good question. I'd probably think about it in terms of, three large shifts. So first of all, the shift from sort of a search engine to a multimodal company that is powered by AI. Secondly, the shift from desktop to mobile. And then thirdly, the movement from online advertising to broad scale digitization. So maybe I could share a bit about each in a bit more depth. Going back to moving from a search engine to a multimodal company, the core mission, as I said, it remains very consistent about making information universally accessible. But in the early days, Google was known primarily as a search engine. People appreciated the accuracy and relevance it provided. But over time, we've evolved into a truly multimodal information company whereby people can access information in text, in video, in audio form across a range of different topics, a range of different platforms. Now, as the internet has evolved, the volume of information has exploded and making sense of that information has become much harder. And that's really driven this need to utilize AI to make sense of it. Many people may not realize it, but AI powers many of our existing products, whether it be search or Google Translate or Assistant. So I'd say, to really sum up, the first big evolution is from search and text to multimodal powered by AI. The second big shift would be the desktop to mobile movement. When I first came into the company, I came in roughly halfway through Google's life cycle. So 25 years, I've been here for around 12. We were right in the midst of that movement from desktop to mobile. We were one of the earlier companies to tap on the growth of the mobile internet. In 2008, we actually released our Android operating system, which has since been adopted very widely, as you might know. And we develop very much now mobile first products, whether it be maps or YouTube or, search apps, these sorts of things. And the last piece would be a movement from online advertising to broad scale digitization. I think we started out developing, very successful online advertising platforms, and Google Ads remains popular today, very, very popular. But we're not just focused on advertising. We've really expanded, through cloud and through our, data and infrastructure tools to really help businesses think about their entire operation from a digital standpoint, as opposed to just, singularly digital marketing. So big three shifts over time. And there's incredible competition, in each of these various different areas that I talked about. Our positioning against competitors, it's always been to focus on innovation, to focus on user experience, then to focus ultimately on return on investment from a B2B standpoint. And I don't think that will change moving into the future. I think those principles will remain consistent.
And Ben, more importantly, going back to what we mentioned in the intro, what actually went under the radar in Google's 25 years of operations that our listeners should know about? Say, a major change in the way you position yourself, or the development of a product that changed the growth trajectory of the business, or even rejecting that buyout offer from Yahoo?
Well, there's a lot of things that have gone under the hood, and some of them I wouldn't know about as well, for sure. But I think one that people may not be fully aware of is the importance of Asia Pacific in shaping Google's global growth strategy, how much we turn to APAC to learn from this region. And I can talk through some of the products that have been developed in this region that you might know about, in your day-to-day life, but maybe it wasn't, fully out there, that it really came from this region. I think the underlying principle is that APAC sort of challenges our company to, think about the future differently, to build better, more inclusive tools, to build services that are tailored to local languages and needs. And an example would be Maps. Maps actually first started in Asia. It actually started in my hometown of Australia, and it's become, a global platform, with many, many users, as we talked about before. If I think about Performance Max, and that's not known to a lot of consumers, that's very much a B2B tool, an advertising product. It's one of our key product launches actually over the last 12 to 18 months. That product was actually cultivated, or the idea was cultivated in Southeast Asia, in this area of the world, based on a need that we saw, and then became a global product. But beyond products, we also see the rise of mobile entrepreneurs in the region. If you can remember Flappy Bird, it was a popular game that was created in 2014. It was created by a Vietnamese developer, and it became a huge hit around the world. It summed up the possibilities for entrepreneurs to build and market their mobile apps through Google Play. So look, today, Asia Pacific is the number one region for mobile subscribers for the app market. And it's a source, of half of all online gaming revenue. So if you think about what this is suggesting, if you sort of think about what's going under the hood here, Asia Pacific is actually helping us understand the future of the internet. It helps us understand how to build better products. We have half the world's population globally. It's growing. In Southeast Asia alone, 20 million people came online for the first time in 2022, right? So it's big and growing very quickly. We've got the highest numbers of emergent middle class globally, and there's major trends that are coming from Asia Pacific, whether it be short video, whether it be gaming, which I mentioned before, whether it be mobile commerce, and that's then allowing us to think about the future and build for the future. If I could really sum it up, I think under the hood, look, if we're going to be successful moving forward as a company, we need to make sure we get Asia Pacific right.
And talk about Asia Pacific. Well, Ben, pun intended, I did a quick Google search on this as well, and it turns out that Google has over 70 offices over 50 countries. But back in Asia Pacific, what is your skill in Singapore and the role Google Singapore plays as part of the wider ecosystem within Google? What are your focus areas here?
I've shared the opportunity we see in Asia Pacific, and when you zoom into Singapore, the business here, it plays a pivotal role in our global strategy for the reasons I just gave. It's our Asia Pacific headquarters. And if I just sort of, reflect on the environment in which we operate here, Singapore as a country, it shares our optimism about technology, and that creates a great environment for us to build our hub here in APAC. But to go a little bit further and to answer your question directly, what does this office afford us? Well, look, having close proximity to the region means we're closer to partners and users. We have the right engineering resources on ground to help solve local challenges and build for APAC and also Southeast Asia specifically. We've a strong engineering presence working on product development for Google Pay and Wallet across multiple countries, whether it be the Southeast Asian markets or India or even the States, right? So we also have that global outreach. And our 3,000 employee workforce, it also comes from a very diverse background, right? So, having that diversity of background, diversity of nationality, diversity of language or lingual first language, super important as we think about how we build build products for everyone. So that'll be the first piece, just being really close to our users, to our partners to then, build according to the needs. The second piece is really around sort of serving many countries at a regional scale. And what I mean by that is that a lot of our infrastructure for the region in Southeast Asia is run through Singapore. It's why we've invested in our technical infrastructure, such as subsea cables, as well as a range of different data center facilities. We've actually invested into 3 data center facilities in this country at an investment of around $850 million USD. But then if I think about Singapore specifically, it's also about investing in the community here. And we have a mission statement of empowering Singaporeans today for tomorrow. The team that I look after is very much anchored around that mission statement. And we do a whole bunch of things in Singapore to contribute meaningfully to the community, whether it be creating economic opportunities through skilling, whether it be keeping Singaporeans safe online through promoting digital literacy, especially among vulnerable segments of the community. These sorts of things are very important to us. So a lot of different things that are happening here, but you can think about it in terms of APAC and APAC product development. You can think about it in terms of serving many other countries from an infrastructure standpoint, and then finally, how do we contribute to Singapore specifically?
And talk about your focus areas, if I may just follow up and to look at the road ahead for Google, Ben. Google Cloud has become one of the top enterprise companies in the world. But between your Google Cloud, your core search engine business, and other business verticals, which is the one vertical that you think will be key in helping Google prepare for the next bound of growth?
Well, look, we see great momentum in our cloud business. I think today, as a standalone company, I was actually just reading this the other day, Google Cloud would be the 5th largest enterprise software company in the world, which is pretty incredible. And then if I think about the rise of Gen AI, that's certainly created a bit of a reset moment for the cloud market where, they're bringing Gen AI products to the market and giving businesses the building blocks they need to transform their organizations. But similarly, on the ad side of the business, and that's the side of the business that I, am primarily responsible for. There continues to be very, very steady growth among our clients and partners in terms of utilization, and it remains a critical piece of the puzzle in reaching existing and new customers for our various different partners. So it'd be hard to say which one vertical would be key because, as GDP is digitized, and there's still a long way to go as we move through the digitization of economies, I do believe there's great value when a company looks at a suite of solutions that we offer holistically. Now, the common thread that ties everything together, whether it be, sort of more the legacy side of the business in the ads arm, or whether it be cloud, it's the use of AI. Gen AI is one area of AI. Predictive AI is another, and it's been around for a very long time. In fact, predictive AI has been powering a lot of our consumer-facing platforms for a long time. It's been powering our ads platforms for a long time. Gen AI is getting a lot of press, but the reality is, as I said, predictive has been around for some time. So this is a bit of a common thread, and there's various different examples of how we utilize Gen AI and also predictive AI across ads and cloud. From an ad standpoint, I mentioned Performance Max. That's one example of predictive AI really playing a key role. From a cloud perspective, we have Vertex AI, which makes it easier than ever for customers to access foundation models and customize them with their own enterprise data. So look, I think it's very difficult to say one versus the other. I think holistically, they will both be very important, very, very important. And the underpinning, consistent factor will be the application of AI, whether it be Gen AI or predictive.
I guess it's also about usage of a mix of generative and predictive AI in your solutions as well. But speaking of generative AI, which is the buzzword of the year, how big of a slice of the generative AI market can Google get with this experimental chat service called Bard, given the ability of Google to embed Bard in your wide range of services?
We see a lot of potential for user adoption, and I say that because, looking at Asia Pacific's rapid digitization and the positive attitude across the region towards technology and innovation, there's a lot to be excited about. And there's extraordinary potential for Gen AI in general. There's extraordinary potential for our own, platforms and products. Bard currently can collaborate with you in over 40 languages, including Chinese, Thai, Vietnamese, range of others. And with our latest updates, Bard can now pull relevant information from Google tools that you use every day, whether it be Gmail or Docs or Maps or YouTube. And that makes it much easier to use Bard in a helpful way, helps you plan those sorts of things. But Gen AI applications, they go much broader than just Bard. If I think about search generative experiences, and that's really sort of enhancing our search platform, this will be, one of the big movements that we make over the coming, 6, 12, 18, 24 months. I mean, we've launched in Japan. We're launching in a bunch of other countries coming up. We're going to roll this out progressively. If I think about cloud and Duet and the applications there, if I think about the Gen AI applications to our ads platforms, it's not as simple as just saying, what's the share that Bard can, win. I think generative AI is very much, sort of cross-platform, cross-product. We definitely think about it horizontally. And there's just incredible opportunity. And I think that, we're at very, very early stages. I think everyone would say that as well. We're at very early stages of the various different applications that, can be brought to life via this technology.
And let's stay on the topic of generative AI, Ben, and don't mind me asking this because very recently we saw Amazon in September announcing that it will invest up to $4 billion of investments, up to $4 billion, I believe, in AI firm Anthropic. And Anthropic is also backed by Google as well. So more broadly, Ben, I don't want to put you in a spot, but how would you assess the race to invest in AI startups? What does it mean for Google and in particular Google Singapore?
Well, it looks an incredibly exciting space. I'll come back to Singapore in a moment. Maybe I could talk globally first. I think probably the simple statement that I'd make is that we believe we're well positioned to extend our resources to help accelerate the growth of the AI economy globally. If I think about at a global scale, the utilization of Google Cloud, half of all Gen AI startups and 70% of Gen AI unicorns, they're actually Google Cloud customers. And we've also announced earlier this year that we've expanded the Google for Startups Cloud program with exclusive benefits for AI first companies. So we're offering up to $250,000 US in cloud credits for their first year, which is about 2.5 times the amount we typically offer startups in their first year. In the second year of the program, we'll cover 20% of their cloud costs up to $100,000 USD. So, we're doing a bunch of things on a global scale. If I think particularly about Singapore, it was pretty impressive to see Jacqueline Poe from the EDB, who is a wonderful partner, to us, she posted the other day about Singapore being in the global top 10 for AI startups. Pretty exciting. And we want to be part of that story as well, right? So in Singapore, a few months ago, we announced a partnership between Digital Industry Singapore and then also Google Cloud, where we're designing an accelerator program to cultivate a vibrant ecosystem of best-in-class startups. So stay tuned for more updates on this front in coming weeks. And then across the region, we've also launched accelerator programs in Korea and Japan and India to support women founders and entrepreneurs who are looking for ways to scale their AI solutions. So it's an exciting space. There's a lot happening. We feel like there is a significant role that we can play and will play. And there's been some announcements recently. There'll be some more coming up. Let's see how it unfolds.
And talk about that recent announcement. I believe there was a recent announcement on Google Cloud partnering with the government to accelerate the development of generative AI. Was that what you mentioned earlier? Can you tell us anything more about that, though?
Well, okay, so we've announced a bunch of different things within the AI space. I think you're alluding to AI Trailblazers, which is an exciting collaboration. But maybe I could give you an answer on Trailblazers and then talk about a few other things that we're doing. The Trailblazers program was announced in collaboration with several ministries, Ministry of Communications and Information, the Digital Industry Singapore, and then Smart Nation and Digital Government Office. So it was really a coming together of a lot of different agencies. And there's a few different things that we're doing. First, through this joint initiative, we'll be sort of working with selected Singapore organizations to identify real-world challenges that can be addressed with Gen AI. We're going to build Gen AI solution prototypes, and then we're going to bring these prototypes to production. So these companies, they'll also gain access to Google Cloud's service suite of Gen AI services at no cost for a fixed duration as they think about deploying their solutions. The second thing that we'll be doing is that we'll also enroll these organizations into fully sponsorship workshops where they'll get hands-on training by our engineers to identify use cases that can be addressed using Gen AI and to move towards building at least one solution prototype. But as I said, there's a whole bunch of other things that we're doing, and we announced a few different pillars to this plan a while back. We made a commitment to engage on a few different areas like building a sustainable talent pipeline to really enhance the capabilities across the country in Singapore. We've announced some work around the accelerator piece, so to accelerate the development of homegrown AI startups. And then we've also, and this sort of goes back to being very focused on responsibility. We're also deeply rooted into Singapore's AI progress in responsible AI through our participation in AI Verify Foundation. And that really is designed to help sort of shape the future of international standards. So there's a bunch of different things that we're doing. Singapore government's super forward thinking in their policies, and we're very blessed to be able to work with them on a range of different areas.
And then my last question, in fact, is on future plans for Google and Google Singapore for the rest of this year and the next. I know you have addressed quite a lot of them, but could you give us a juicy piece, something like a teaser as to what we can expect, a more granular form, if I may try my luck?
Well, we announce things when we announce them, but look, I think I could give you some broad strokes and then try to go into a little bit of granularity where possible. But look, first of all, driving innovation forward will be front and center. The shift to AI will likely accelerate the region's digital progress and will give it a bigger role in shaping technology's future. And as a company, we need to continue to use insights and data to understand the markets we serve and to shape the way that we approach solutions to continue to drive innovation forward. So it's not like I can give you a firm announcement here, but this is something that we think very, very carefully about and will continue to stay focused on. Outside of that, look, I think what I might talk about within Singapore is what we're really doing from a skilling standpoint and then also from a safety perspective, both super important. It's important that we don't get so caught up in what's happening in Gen AI and these sorts of things that we forget about, developing the skills that will help businesses, that will help individuals plug into the overall opportunity that sits within the digital economy in which we operate. By 2030, Singapore's digital economy will be worth $30 billion, right? So it's important that we really equip people. We've invested heavily into skilling over the years. You may have heard about some of the programs that we've run in Skills Ignition SG. We've trained over 9,000 Singaporeans. And that's pretty high touch training, right? Like it's not try to touch hundreds of thousands of people, light touch. It's very, very focused and very high impact. and we'll continue to invest in these areas. I talked about how we're thinking about weaving in AI to really sort of expand our curriculum and expand out various different learning tracks. There'll be more to come in that space over time. So we'll be focused there, and you can expect more to come down the pipe. But then also keeping people safe online. I would say that we're, really building great momentum in this space. And that's not something we ever want to take for granted. We want to continue to focus here, to really double down on vulnerable segments of the community, whether it be children or whether it be our elderly. And so you'll hear a lot more in this space as we move into 2024. So driving innovation forward, shaping the sustainable skill sets, and then keeping people safe. And that goes outside of all of our B2B operations, which will be, obviously very, very important for us, as we move forward.
So more to come. The 3 key words of the day. Google Singapore is definitely on our radar, Ben, so keep us updated. Thanks a lot. That was Ben King, Managing Director of Google Singapore and APAC Agency. Thank you very much for joining us on Money FM 89.3.